So this is webinar number 8 in our series of Forensic Fridays. This is basically catching criminals with GPS forensics. So what's happening, today there is a GPS in everything. We have a GPS in our phones, we have a GPS in our cars, we have a GPS in our planes. In fact, there is, everything that moves. We even have trucks with those embedded GPS devices in them. We have these in the mining areas. They've got these dumpers and tippers and vehicles. They've been given GPSs. Today, they're also putting GPS devices in animal collars. So if you have a dog and you want to locate your dog, you can have a GPS device embedded in his collar and you can then locate it. Similarly, there is the famous Apple tag, which is also there, which can be used to trace objects and devices and animals and people. And that also has a built-in GPS. So there are, GPSs that are out there which are which have a lot of data which we need. So we'll be talking about GPSs and how we can get that data. But before we proceed on the GPS part, let me share some ground rules that we all need to follow. Number 1, please keep your mic muted and your cameras off. Of course, we'll click a group picture at the end of the session, and I will request you all to turn on your cameras at that time. A certificate of attendance will be provided to all interested participants. For this certificate, you will need to fill a form. We always provide a link at the end of the form, at the end of the session. So please use that. And it is the same form that you have used in the past. You just need to fill it every time you attend a session. So if you don't have the link now, you can also use the last link that you used. Okay. Then the thing to take care of is that the name you type in that form is the name you will get your certificate on. So it's very important that you type the name correctly, the correct capitalization and things like that, because that is exactly what is going to go in the certificate. So if you find that the capitalization is not correct or the spelling is not correct or there is a comma or an extra space or something, it's because you've typed it like that in the form, because it is coming directly from the form. So please, the emphasis is that put in your correct name in that form, right? Post all your questions in the chat box. We will attempt to answer them all. And we usually take extra time at the end of the webinar so that we can answer your questions and there are nothing left unanswered. But in the event there is something left unanswered, we will be happy to get on either a one-to-one phone call or answer that to you later over email. Right? Little bit about our company. It was set up in 1999. Our registered office is in Delhi. We have our lab in Faridabad. In fact, anybody who is in this area, anybody who comes to Delhi or Faridabad, please feel free to come and visit us. We are always happy to receive visitors. Just give us a call and do drop in. We have a state-of-the-art lab. We have a lot of exciting tools, products, and things, technologies here, which are great, fun to use, and there's a lot of things happening, a lot of exciting new technologies that we keep getting, we experiment with, and we also develop new technologies in-house as well. So we have been working in this area for a long time. A lot of people really appreciate forensic technology. Mr. Modi is a big fan of computer forensics. उनको हमेशा लगता है कि भाई computer forensics needs to increase more, and digital forensics and non-digital forensics also need to keep increasing more and more. We have been doing this for a long time. So as you can see, we have been appreciated by a lot of people in a lot of locations across the country. We have won a lot of awards. We are also a NASSCOM Emerge 50 company, which means, that, it's considered a big thing. They select only 50 companies out of a whole stack of companies, and then they, shortlist those companies, and we are one of those. And we are the only company in the digital forensic space or in the computer forensic space who is a NASSCOM Emerge company. The United Nations, we have done work with them. We did a training program in Bangladesh, which they were really happy with. And they said, okay, we'll give you, repeat orders, which we got. So it was very good for us. We helped the Indian Army with some malware. In fact, if you remember in 2007, Benazir Bhutto, the Prime Minister of Pakistan, had been murdered, assassinated. Now, what happened was that at that time there was a lot of interest all over the area about how did it happen. Nobody knew how she was assassinated. Nobody knew who did it and things like that. There was a lot of speculation, a lot of questions about the whole exercise. So a number of people, in the Ministry of External Affairs, number of people in the defense establishment, they began to receive emails, and the email subject was the real story of how Benazir Bhutto was killed. भाई ईमेल जो भेजी गई उसका सब्जेक्ट यही था कि भाई द रियल स्टोरी हाउ बेनजीर भुट्टो वाज किल्ड. अब उससे क्या हुआ, जो भी उस ईमेल को पढ़ता था ही वुड क्लिक ऑन दैट ईमेल और वो ईमेल खोल देता था, और ईमेल खुल गई तो उनके पास एक अटैचमेंट थी जिससे वो उनका सिस्टम इन्फेक्ट हो जाता था. तो बहुत सारे सिस्टम्स इन्फेक्ट हो गए, और उसमें जो मॉलवेयर था वो नॉर्मल एंटीवायरस उसको डिटेक्ट नहीं कर पाता था क्योंकि वो नया था. सो we were called in to help and assist the army, where they realized that this was happening. And when we got in and we did an analysis of the malware, we found out that it was actually from Chinese origin and it had some particular characteristics which we shared, and they were very happy with that, and they gave us a letter of thanks on that basis. We have also helped a lot of police forces, and we are always helping police forces. Anytime any of you also need any help, please feel free to contact us. We are happy to help you. What happened was that somebody was kidnapped, and when the person was kidnapped, we helped them, catch the criminals, recover the money and the kidnapped person. We helped recover 1 crore and 38 lakh rupees in this particular case. We have customers all across the country. A lot of you are already our customers, and we work with mainly government and law enforcement, and we also work with a number of private sectors, and a number of colleges and universities are also our customers. Set up a number of labs as well. People are very happy with the labs that we set up because we set up very top quality labs. This is a little bit about me. I've been doing this since 1999. In fact, I founded this company in 1999. I have 30 plus years of experience. I spent time in the US, UK, and India. I'm a fellow of the Indian Police Foundation. I'm an author published by Pack Publishers UK. I'm a speaker. I've spoken in various organizations, conferences, and training institutions in India and different parts of the world. I've spoken in the US, in Singapore, in UK, in Malaysia, in the Middle East, and of course, a lot of places in India. I'm also a TEDx speaker. So let's talk about a GPS. What is it? How does it work? Before we can actually analyze the contents of data that reside on a GPS, सबसे पहले हमें ये समझना जरूरी है कि GPS होता क्या है और चलता कैसे है. So that is very important. I have a small video which talks about GPS and Albert Einstein. We can have a quick look. फिर उसके आगे फिर हम will discuss it a little more. थोड़ा सा ये graphically दिखा रहे हैं. आप ये देख रहे हो map of India. In this, there is somebody with a GPS. This GPS is, as you can see, connecting to multiple satellites across the globe. The globe में geosynchronous orbits में satellites हैं, which are used for geopositioning. Normal क्या होता है कि जो भी आपका device है जिसमें GPS है, that device is connecting to these satellites, and it is deriving its location based on its position, and it requires more than one satellite to get accuracy, because the degree of accuracy depends on the number of satellites it has an accurate connection to. In this example, we can see that this one is connected to 8 satellites. This particular device somewhere in the middle of India, maybe in Madhya Pradesh, maybe in Jabalpur in Madhya Pradesh, right in the center. So this is like an example of GPS in action.
GPS has already become an integral part of our lives, and you can see a few useful applications from these examples. GPS is really an interesting technology. It uses a system of 24 satellites continuously orbiting the Earth and requires at least 4 satellites to track your location. It uses an atomic clock, and the time error of your mobile phone is also a matter of great concern. Moreover, Albert Einstein's theory of relativity plays an important role in GPS technology. Finally, a real-life application for the theory of relativity. Let's put aside all these complications and understand the technology of GPS in a step-by-step and logical manner. Let's assume that your friend wants to find out your location and you have a mobile phone. In short, you should be on the intersection points. Now there is a small issue. There are two intersection points. So, which is your final position? For this, you take the Earth's surface as the third circle and eliminate the improbable solution. In the three-dimensional world, you can also use the same approach. Here, instead of 2 satellites, we need 3 satellites. In the three-dimensional world, the satellite knows you are somewhere on a sphere. With the use of a second satellite, your position narrows down to a circle. Note that the intersection of 2 spheres gives a circle. Now, with the help of a third satellite, you will be able to narrow down your location to just 2 points. Here, the intersection of a circle and a sphere gives 2 points. Just like in the previous case, using the Earth as the fourth surface, we find the correct point, the 3 spatial coordinates. Now let's see how the distance between you and the satellite is measured. All the satellites are equipped with a very accurate atomic clock. The satellite sends an intermittent radio signal down to Earth. This radio signal will contain the exact time the signal was sent and the position of the satellite. Assume the receiver also has a very accurate clock. The receiver on Earth receives this signal. A typical smartphone GPS receiver is shown here. Since radio waves travel at the speed of light, your receiver receives the signal after a certain time duration. By finding out the difference between the sent and received times and multiplying it by the speed of light, you will be able to find out the distance between you and the satellites. Since the satellite has already sent you its coordinate, you can easily build a sphere around the satellite's center point and find out your position, as explained before. One thing to note here is that the time measurement has to be very accurate. Even an error of microseconds will give an error in the range of kilometers, since the speed of light is so huge. Here comes the main issue. Your receiver does not have a highly accurate clock. Your mobile phones or laptops work on crystal clocks that are not accurate when compared to atomic clocks. Having an atomic clock in a smartphone is simply impractical. You can easily see how inaccurate your smartphone clock is compared to an atomic clock by checking the time settings. We call the difference between the actual time and the time measured by your mobile phone as time offset. This time offset will cause a huge error in GPS calculations. How do we overcome this issue? The good news is that the time offset of your smartphone with all 3 of the satellites is the same, since the satellites all keep the same time. The time offset value of your device becomes the new unknown. This means, apart from the 3 spatial coordinates, we have to solve the time offset value of your receiver as well. We need an extra satellite measurement to solve this 4th unknown, and that is why we need 4 satellites to measure your location. This way, we avoid the need of an atomic clock in your mobile device. If you check your current GPS constellation, it will be clear that at least 4 satellites can see your location at any point in time. Please hold on, this video is not yet over. We have one more issue to solve. Even with all these advanced technologies, this GPS system will not give you the right location. Here comes the importance of Einstein's theory of relativity. Time is not absolute. It depends upon many other factors. According to the theory of special relativity, a fast-moving clock will slow down. The atomic clocks, which are moving at a speed of 14,000 kilometers per hour, will slow down by 7 microseconds every day due to this. At an altitude of 20,000 kilometers above the Earth, the satellites experience 1/4 of the Earth's gravity. Thus, according to Einstein's general relativity theory, the clocks will tick slightly faster, in this case around 45 microseconds every day. This means a net 38 microseconds of offset is created every day in the atomic clock. To compensate for this, a theory of relativity equation is integrated into the computer chips and adjusts the rate of the atomic clocks. Without this application of the theory of relativity, the GPS would have produced an error of 10 kilometers every day. GPS is a navigation system developed by the U.S. Department of Defense and is completely free for the public. However, there are accurate alternatives available in many countries nowadays. Modern receivers simultaneously make use of GPS and other navigation systems to get the most accurate position. Now, a quick question. Does GPS require an internet connection? GPS does not require an internet or cell phone signal. However, with their help, GPS startup can be greatly speeded up. Satellite location information can be downloaded via the internet rather than direct satellite downloads, which are very slow. Such GPS systems are known as assisted GPS. So, the next time you track your food delivery or navigate your car, please keep in mind how important the theory of relativity, developed by Einstein, and the other mathematical ideas are behind GPS.
So I think you must have found that this was very useful information because we all use GPS, but to understand how the GPS works is very important. And this small video has actually given us a good insight into how this works. Our whole purpose behind this exercise of being able to understand how a GPS works is to get the overall view that if a GPS does this, how are we going to investigate it, and what is the kind of information that we can expect from the GPS when we are doing this kind of an investigation. So our whole idea has been led by this exercise of understanding the GPS's functioning. So what happens when someone uses a GPS device? Now, suppose I am at a particular location and I want to go somewhere else. When we use Google Maps, what do? What we do is that we will start the app, Google Maps. We will have a from where we are starting from, perhaps, or where we want to check where we want to go from. And then we will have the second part, which is to, or the destination. Where do we want to go? Now, when we are working out where we want to go, we will specify an address or a location or name of a place or whatever. Sometimes we may actually not want to go there directly. We might say, look, I want to go via a number of stoppages en route. And those are what we call as waypoints or points on the way. So what happens is that any GPS route may have multiple waypoints through the process, through the route. Now, it could be a current location, it could be a location that a person wants to navigate to, or it may be a location a person wants to navigate to at a particular point of time. It is like, these long distance journeys that we take, Suppose I want to drive from, say, New Delhi to Mumbai, and I say, I want to go to New Delhi to Mumbai, but I want to go, take all the scenic route and everything. I will go via, first I will go to Agra, I will do some sightseeing there. Then I will go to Jaipur. I will do some sightseeing there. Then I will go to Mount Abu. And then from Mount Abu, I will go to, Gandhinagar, Ahmedabad, Gandhinagar, and so on and so forth. And I will then go to Daman. And then from Daman, I will go to Mumbai or whatever. So if I make our nice long scenic route, each of those points and route is a waypoint. And that can be essentially the information that might help you crack a case. So waypoints are a very important aspect. Now, when the GPS device creates the route, it creates those series of waypoints and it stores them. And it will show the user the route of how to navigate from one location to another in that specific order. So waypoints are locations, but there is a sequence, This is waypoint 1, waypoint 2, waypoint 3, waypoint 4. So they are actually following a particular sequence. Then third, what happens is that the data that has been saved can also have additional information. Suppose the GPS has got additional information, you might be able to access that as well, related to, say, altitude of the thing. It may be related to, say, weather conditions, depend on the GPS and things like that. There can be a lot of things. And now let's look at it. How many people use GPSs today? Everybody has got these mobile phones. Why will a person use a GPS? Will criminals use a GPS or not? What is your experience? What is your feeling? What we have seen is that GPSs are devices that are essentially a lot more powerful vis-a-vis the handheld mobile phones that we have when it comes to accuracy of location. Plus, a lot of some of the high-end GPSs also have the atomic clock, which was discussed. They are already built in, and there, when we are using a mobile phone, the GPS effectiveness is best if the signal is there, if the assisted GPS is in use. You yourself must have seen that when you're traveling in an area where the mobile signal is not there, the GPS is not functioning properly. Your Google Maps will not be functioning properly. That is because the mobile phone's GPS alone is not good enough to provide us the data that we need. And also because we saw in the video the time taken for the location data to be pushed from the satellite to the device is a lot longer, and from the tower to this is a lot lower. So because the tower is not there, it takes a lot more time. So people tend to use GPS in those areas where tower coverage is less. That is reason number one. Now, what are those kind of areas? You will find that there might be areas like border areas which are not very densely populated. It could be jungle areas where there is wildlife smuggling. There could be border areas where there is drug smuggling, NDPS cases, or human trafficking, or in situations where there is infiltration across hostile borders, for example, or it could be where there is cattle smuggling across borders and things like that for say eastern northeastern states, for example. It is also used extensively in sea, in the coastal areas where fishermen use boats and they need GPSs to find and locate themselves. Now GPS devices are more effective than obviously phone based GPS devices. So if a fisherman is on a boat and that person is lost, or he wants to find his way home, or he needs a location, it is the GPS that is going to help him get back. In fact, GPS devices are extensively used by smugglers who are doing smuggling via boat. There are arms smugglers, there are drug smugglers, there are smugglers of explosives, even illegal fishery and things like that. All those activities are carried out by boats and fishermen and boatmen who are all carrying GPS devices. In fact, GPS devices are a fantastic source of information from all of these people. Also, in situations of wildlife crime, in the jungle areas where cell tower coverage is not good, you will find a lot of poachers and people like Sansar Chand, who was a very famous poacher who was doing tiger poaching and other kind of poaching. But they were all using GPSs because they were able to find locations accurately using that. So then only the senior people were using, of course. Yeah. When you turn on a GPS unit, what happens? There is that attempt of seeking a signal. So what happens when you turn on a GPS unit? It will communicate with satellites and try and locate where it is. So it will try 1 satellite, 2 satellite, 3 satellite, 4 satellite, 5 satellite, 6 satellite, etc., etc. And depending on the type of GPS, it will start getting an accurate location from 3 to 4 to 5, 6 satellites onwards. So you will find that in some cases, if you're getting a good signal, your phone will show that your location is accurate up to say 20 meters. In certain other places, it will say your phone location is accurate up to 3 meters or 6 meters, depending on the quality of the GPS device in your phone, chip in your phone. So what it needs to do is it will communicate with satellites to determine its location, and as you travel, it is going to take additional track points, and it will save these track points in what is called a track log. So that track log keeps track. This GPS location was in this area at this time. It is a log, and that shows that the GPS has been in those locations. So by direct inference, you can say that the owner has also been with that in that same location at that time. So there are a lot of GPS devices out there. There are Garmin, there is Magellan, there is Mio, there is TomTom. These are some of the devices that are there. These are all standalone devices. I am not talking about phones at all. Phones are common. You can do basic phone for, you can use normal phones for basic GPS extraction and things like that. That is not a big deal. But the dedicated GPS devices that are out there can be quite complex, and you actually need a different set of cables to get it. And especially when you're looking at marine GPSs or GPS devices, handheld or otherwise, that are used inside boats for their location and things like that, they are also not so straightforward. So you need a full set of cables and connectors to be able to extract that data. Normal this GPS extraction is very basic and it is not effective, from that perspective. So we move on. This is a very famous case. So this is basically, the attacks on the 26th of November at the Taj Hotel at Mumbai actually. What happened in Mumbai? There was a bunch of terrorists who came and attacked a number of locations in Mumbai. A number of people were killed. A number of very heroic police officers died in this attack. A number of hotel guests died in the attack. A number of paramilitary people died in this attack, and it was a major international incident. There was a big furor, and it was a very bad incident. So this particular incident, I am bringing this up to show you the importance of GPS evidence. If we just look at the investigation chart of the Mumbai terrorist attack, we will see that a number of things were found. Now, if you look, there was a lot of devices found, such as hand grenades. There was a pistol. There were items found on that vessel that they came in, and things like that. So of course, the ordnance, the pistols, the hand grenades, etc., were found. They were actually manufactured in Pakistan, so that was indicative. But also the food items that were packed, they were also manufactured in Pakistan. But the critical piece of digital evidence that we got was from one of the critical pieces of digital evidence that we got was from the GPS unit. The GPS unit that was there was a fishing trawler. These guys came by boat, and they came by boat from somewhere southeast of Karachi, and they came to Mumbai, and now they had never been to Mumbai. So what they did was that they had these GPS devices and they put in the details of from where to go. And the key was that when they started, that GPS device of the boat was programmed to show its departure point and then their final destination point, etc. So all that was there in the GPS device. It was seized and forensically examined, and all that produced a lot of evidence which was actually put into the charge sheet, and that was crucial evidence which was very vital to the case, which conclusively proved that this attack originated in Pakistan, and all these people were there. So again, this is the importance of GPS devices. This is how a GPS device can influence a case, and this is how GPS devices can surrender their data if queried properly. But to do that, we need to have the right kind of tools, and we need to have the right kind of skills. Now, if we need to figure out what did the person visit a particular location, that data may exist in the visible data, but it could also exist in the deleted data, because normally which criminal wants to be caught? No one. There is not a single criminal, except in the movies or in the series, where the criminals say, yes, yes, please come and catch me. Yes, yes, yes. Catch me if you can. Forget it. Criminals will avoid getting caught. They may make mistakes. They may subconsciously want to be caught, but practically they will avoid trying to be caught. And there are so many cases where we get these GPS devices where they may have deleted the data, and the data will have to first be recovered, then analyzed, then plotted on a map to be able to see the movement and the action of a person based on their activities. So, if there is somebody who's crossed a border and is following a particular route, and they're regularly, infiltrating in the border using that particular route, once they reach their destination, their guide will take the GPS away from them and delete the data, so that that GPS does, even if it is seized, will not directly show the route that this person has come from across the border. But if it is forensically analyzed, we will be able to get that, and we will be able to identify what it is all about, right? So normal GPS examination, using normal looking at it, seeing the data, and other tools is not good enough. We need to use forensic tools. We get the information what is visible, and also the data that is not visible, which may be hidden, which may be deleted, but still may be present on the device. So the world's most powerful and the best tool in this area is a tool called Burla Blackthorn. Some of you may have heard of it. It is extensively now also being used for vehicle forensics as well. It is basically a tool used for recovering evidence from GPS devices. And it supports over 3,500 different profiles, logical and physical. And you can even decode the flash memory images, full examinations. You can add maps, annotations, comments if somebody is added. Sometimes, in a GPS, you give a name to that location, or you write the name of a person who will come and meet you at that location. So you say, okay, I'm going to be met by, Sonu at this location. So Sonu's name will be there, and then that Sonu at least is indicative to whoever is doing the forensic examination that at this location there was somebody called Sonu who was there. So also, you can carry out queries. So you have say multiple GPS devices that have visited the same location, or you can say multiple GPS devices that have visited the same location at the same time, and or they were within a particular range. So they were all moving together, say at a range of say 30-40 feet difference. They were close by, and things like that. So all that is extremely crucial information, and that gives us an insight into how the GPS device can actually provide value to an investigator. So let's see how we're going to conduct a full examination of a GPS device. So what I'm going to now do is I will hand over the screen to Subhashini, and my colleague Subhashini, she will then show us practically how a GPS device can be interrogated, can be questioned, and we can get the kind of data that exists on a GPS device forensically. So Subhashini, over to you.
Alright, sir, thank you so much. So let me share my screen first. Okay, so so far we have got fair enough idea about GPS devices and the purpose of using different GPS devices, and kind of data that we get from the GPS devices. And also we talked about a little bit, we talked about GPS forensics. So we just got to know that what kind of examination, forensic examination we can perform on any GPS device, or we can get what kind of analysis we can perform on the GPS data. So here what you can see, this is the workplace of the tool which we talked about, Blackthorn, Burla Blackthorn. So this is the GPS forensic tool which supports over 3,500 different types of GPS devices for different kind of extraction, different kind of data extraction. For instance, we can perform logical extraction by using this particular tool, and the physical acquisition as well. So if I talk a little bit about the logical and physical acquisition, so in logical acquisition means extraction, means getting or taking out data from the GPS device. So suppose if any investigator have found any GPS device, then that investigator can take out or extract or acquire the data from the evidence GPS device. So these extraction can be performed in two ways. So the one way is the physical extraction of the data, and another way is the logical extraction of the data. So what is logical extraction? Logical extraction, data extraction is the fastest and most commonly used extraction process. So in this kind of extraction, only live data can be acquired. No deleted data will be acquired in this particular kind of extraction. If I talk about the physical extraction, so this is the physical extraction, or a physical extraction is a bit by bit copy of the entire content of the GPS device. So this extraction actually contains all live data of the GPS device or the evidence GPS device, as well as the data that has been deleted or the hidden. So these kind of data can be acquired or extracted from the GPS device. So any forensic examiner or forensic examiners can conduct full examination of evidence GPS devices and also can create customized report. So what is the ways of performing forensic examination on any evidence device? So the first way is to take out the data from that evidence device and then performing your analysis on that extracted data, and then at last we perform or examiner create reporting on their analysis part. So all these steps can be performed by using this particular tool, Blackthorn, in case of GPS data analysis. So the analysis feature of this tool, this particular tool, Blackthorn, it allows the investigators to conduct advanced searches and analysis to uncover many crucial pieces of information which sir has already talked about. And we can get to know about a lot of GPS devices activity within a certain distance of a specific location, and GPS devices that have been used in the same place at the same time. So we can get to know about a lot of information related to the GPS devices. So now let's get to know a little bit working of this particular tool. So what I'll be doing here, I'll be explaining you few of the options available here in this tool. So whatever you can see right now at your screen, this is the workplace of this Blackthorn tool. So let's see that how what are the options available here, that what any investigator can perform what kind of investigation by using this particular tool. So every time whenever this tool is getting opened by the investigator, so every time Blackthorn starts, it takes you to the home section. This is the home page or home section of this particular tool. So this home section, actually this contains the shortcut of the main functions of this particular software. So including the acquisition part, means extraction part, including examination part and the report part. So please look at the cursor, my cursor where I'm moving. So we have given these options. Acquisition means by using this option, we can get data extracted from the GPS device, and then we can perform analysis on that extracted data. And once I'm done with my analysis part, then I can create a report based on my analysis. So I have one GPS device right now. I'll be showing you that GPS device and I'll be performing my analysis on that GPS device. So let me show you that GPS device. So here I have this GPS device. If you can see, this is the Garmin GPS device. You must have seen the picture of this particular device in the presentation as well. So here I'm using this GPS device to get data extracted from this. Yes, so this is the GPS device Garmin. So what I'm going to do, I am just going to get the data extracted from this particular GPS device by using the tool Blackthorn. So simply, I am going to connect this GPS device to my system, with my system in which I have the Bella Blackthorn tool. So let's see. I have just connected this. So now this GPS device is connected to the system. So I'm just going to keep it one side. And again, I'm going to share my screen just to show the workplace of the Blackthorn. So you can just see the screen of the tool. Okay. So here I am at Blackthorn. which I have already shared the options available here, that we can first we can acquire the data, then we will examine the acquired data, and then we will perform reporting on the acquired data. So let's go to all options one by one, एक एक करके हर options पे जाते हैं. So the very first option, to start your investigation with any evidence GPS device. यहाँ पे मैं Blackthorn use कर रही हूँ, कोई भी और GPS device का यूज यहाँ पे किया जा सकता है, just to get the data extracted from that particular GPS device. So what will be the first step? The first step will be evidence acquisition or data extraction. So data extraction, for data extraction we have given two options here. So the one option is of extract data from that GPS device. So if any investigator has the evidence GPS device, so डायरेक्ट उस GPS डिवाइस से डेटा एक्सट्रैक्ट कर सकते हैं. The next option, that suppose the investigator does not have the evidence GPS device but has the GPS data collected or acquired through any other sources. So कोई अगर और forensic tool use करके किसी other GPS device का data extracted है, so that data can also be imported here in this tool for further analysis. So if there is no GPS device is not there with the investigator, but if investigator has the image file or the data file for that GPS device, then examination can be conducted on that as well. So for acquisition process, we have two major options or two main options available here in this tool. Once the examiner is done with the extraction, then we have the option for examination as well. So we can perform a deep examination on the extracted data, and then I have already shared that we can perform or generate report on that extracted or analyzed data. At last, what you can see here, that we have the option of watch list as well. So watch list hai kya? So this is a list of things that are being monitored, attentively monitored or closely monitored. So अगर कोई ऐसा location जो आप monitor कर रहे हैं closely, then that for that location, examiner or the investigator can make watch list for. So by this feature, an investigator can create a list of suspected location or suspicious location or the questioned locations. For example, as sir has already shared that any investigator can make list of locations which are being used in the drug trafficking cases. Okay, so this kind of watch list can be made. So this watch list in the tool, so first investigator made the watch list, and then the investigator or the examiner can save the watch list in this particular tool for monitoring those suspected locations. So, suppose if I have made my watch list, I have made my watch list for 10 locations, and I have made and saved these watch lists in this Blackthorn tool. So now, what if after some time, if I get one GPS device, evidence GPS device, and if I will get data extracted from that evidence GPS device, and if I will analyze that data, and if that data contains locations, same locations which are already there in my watch list, then I will get the alarm or the pop-up or the message that yes, this particular data which I have just extracted from this GPS device has the location which I have already made watch list for, or which I am trying to monitor. So this is how I will get the help from the watch list. All right. So let's move and let's get to see the options available here. So what I'm going to do, so I am going to use the first option, acquisition. So I'm going to extract the data from the GPS device which I have showed you just now, the garment device. So here, as I have already shared that we have given two options, extraction option, logical and physical. So I will be going with the physical acquisition option. All right. So I have selected physical acquisition option, and here I have the list of all connected GPS devices with my system. So I have connected this garment GPS device. So I'll be selecting this device, and simply I have to click on next. So here I'll be selecting the way or the form in which I just want to get data extracted. So I have selected E01 and I will be giving the name to this extraction. So simply I have to give a name to this case. So I'll be giving the name. This is today's date. All right. So I'll be clicking on next. Here, examiner has to fill few general information related to the case description, or the name of the examiner. So means these kind of information needs to be filled here. I can skip this as well. So I'll be skipping here. And now I'm getting the pop-up for the acquisition that it's everything is ready to get acquired. Okay, so now I'll be clicking on next. So what is getting done here is data is getting, acquired from this particular GPS device which I have used. So you can see the timing or the along with the process, you can see that data is getting acquired and it's done. Okay, I have got the message that the acquisition is done. Now I'll be clicking on next, and then again I have to click on next. I'm getting the message that about the device which I'm using. And yes, here what you can see that what kind of data I have got extracted or I have found from this extraction, that I have got the information of the waypoints, the track logs and the routes. A lot of GPS devices are also available in the market. Advanced GPS devices are available in the market, जिसमें बहुत other information भी आपको मिल सकती है, जैसे phone numbers, emails, phone calls, the detail of the phone calls, text messages as well. So here जो मैं GPS device use कर रही हूँ Garmin, in that GPS device I have these three kinds of information available, just to show you that first information waypoint, track logs and the route information. So with this I'll be clicking on next. So everything is done now. So what I'm getting to see here that acquisition process is completed, means data हमारे GPS device से acquire हो चुका है. So once the data is acquired, I'll be moving to the next part, which is the examination part. Okay, so in examination part, what I will get to see that yes, here I am getting the getting actually a lot of information, but particularly I'll be focusing on these information, the information related to the track logs, the information related to the locations and the routes, because all these three informations are related to the case data. All right. So what is the track log information? One by one, I'll be looking at each option. So what is very first, that what is the track log? So the track log is actually simply a recording or the detail of the tracks or the paths जो किसी person ने follow किया है. Okay, so so these track logs basically are the points that are automatically stored when the Garmin device is has moved. So जो भी person इस Garmin device को, जो कि मैं अभी use कर रही हूँ, जो भी person इस Garmin device को लेके move किया है, वो उसका track का information is here in this particular option. So we'll get to see about the track log information here. And then next information is about the location. So we have got 13 locations information. So these are location information, or you can say position information, or the place information. All right. And the next information is of route. So route information is what is route? A route is a way from one place to another. So we will be getting the information about route as well. All right. So let's get to see for each information one by one. So here I have 4 track logs saved in this extracted GPS data. So let's see one of the track logs. So randomly I'll be selecting this track log. So here I have these, number, how many number points we have? Number of points we have 432. So what you can see here, you can just get to see about all details related to this particular, data. That what is the distance travel, number of points, what is the date, start date, end dates, elapsed time. Elapsed time, what is the elapsed time? The actual time taken or actual time used. So average speed. So all information you are getting. So what if you look at the table part? In table part, you will get the detailed information about each and every step taken by the user, the person who has used this GPS device. So the date information, the position information. Position information means latitude and longitude information at each specific time. So you will be getting the latitude, longitude information and the elevation information. What is elevation information? This is the information like height above the ground or other surface. For example, you must have heard that a plane is flying at 3,600 feet above the ground. So this is the elevation, information, that how, what is the height above the ground or the surface. Okay, the leg speed information, leg course information, this is the angle information actually, and the length information as well. So what you can see here, that every minute detail related to any data you can get to see here. Additionally, the main the thing here is I will just show you the maps. Okay, let me open the map here. So what you can see here, that this is the track log of this particular data. So what you can see here is that for this particular data, this is the track log saved in this evidence extracted data. So बहुत ही clearly आप देख सकते हैं कि एक step from the beginning to the end, जहां से ये journey start की गई है to the end, everything is minutely detailed or clearly visible. So examiner can, get to know about each specific data. So a deep investigation or examination can be conducted by using this particular tool. So these are the actually points, the red spot which you can see here, spots actually which you can see here, these are the points. So at each point you can get to see about, or you can get to know about a lot of details. So this is the detail. If let me just stop my cursor here. So what you can see, the latitude, longitude information, the date information, that on what particular date this point got created, the device information as well, that from which device this data has got extracted, या ये जो data है वो किस device से लिया गया है, and किस date को इस device का data extract करके examine किया गया है, ये भी you can get to see. So for instance, you can get to see that 4/6/2020 means 4 को 4th of April, I just got this data extracted. Actually, I have already saved this data. That is why this extraction date is showing. So this is how, what I'm trying to explain you is that you can get to know about each minute detail related to this GPS data, extracted GPS data. So here is the map part which I'm showing you, that on map you can get to see about the track logs. You can also get to see these track log on the Google Earth map as well if you have Google Earth map. So you can get to see about these track logs saved in the GPS device. So GPS device का data जब भी start करेंगे उसमें जो भी track logs है, जो भी किसी भी user ने जो उस GPS device को use किया है, जिस जगह को navigate किया है, so from the starting point to the end point, each point या कौन सा डायरेक्शन उसने लिया, कौन सा एंगल मूव किया उसने, हर एक डायरेक्शन पे, हर एक एंगल पे क्या लैटिट्यूड और लॉन्गिट्यूड इंफॉर्मेशन था, everything will be mentioned here. So here what you can see, that the track log information on the Google map. All right. Okay, so moving forward, we will be going to the next thing, That is, okay, let me just minimize it. We just got to see about the track log information. Now we will be looking at the location information. So here we have 3 location information. So one by one, we can just get to see about each and every location information. If we want to see the location information in the metadata, what you can see here, these are the location information. So it is telling you about the name of the location, or the, again you are getting to see about the elevation, information, waypoints information, the case information. जिस case में ये location information है, you are getting to know about these details as well. And along with the location information, we have 2 routes, only 2 routes saved in this GPS device. So these are 2 routes. This is the one of the routes and this is the second route. So actually this is this route जो कि पहला route है, this is the same route जिसका मैंने आपको track log show किया. So that is why the same thing is getting shown here. So you can get to see about the route information as well. As sir has already shared about the Mumbai blast case, the Taj Hotel wala case. So the sir has already shared you about the case story. So the GPS device which with terrorist ने जो GPS device use किया, उस GPS device में they had already saved their routes. So because they were never they had visited to Mumbai before that blast. So they from there उनके head से उनको जो GPS device मिला था उसमें routes already save करके उनको दिया गया था. What they had to do only, they had to use that saved routes और वो उसी saved routes को use करके अपने targeted point तक पहुंच रहे थे और वहां पे वो अपना target complete कर रहे थे. So if any GPS device has any saved route, then we can get to know about this information as well. So this is the examination part, and once I am done with the examination part, I have already shared that I can go with the reporting part as well. So here I have a lot of options available for making or creating report for this for any particular case that I can make report based on the activities by geolocation. So this particular report format identifies any form of activity that occur within a defined area around the specific location. So और भी जो आप ऑप्शन देख पा रहे हैं, these are the different option or different ways of getting your report created for your analysis. So we have the link analysis option as well for creating reports. So this report, actually the link analysis report shows user defined relationship between the GPS data. We have the option for timeline based report creation. We have the option for timeline by activity report creation option as well. So we have a lot of options available for getting any report created for our extracted GPS data. So that's it for this particular tool, and I have already shared about the watch list as well. One more thing which I wish to share here is I talked about the extract data part. Means अगर आपके पास GPS device है, then what to do and how can you get the data extracted from the evidence GPS device. But अगर आपके पास GPS device नहीं है, even then you can perform your analysis by using the file, a GPS data file, or the acquired GPS through other sources file. So you can perform your analysis by using this option as well. So what you can do here is, here we have given 2 options. If I have any image file, उस image file को भी मैं यहाँ पे import करके अपना extraction perform कर सकती हूँ. Let me just quickly show you if I have any image file. Yes, I have this image file. So what I can do here, I will just select this image file and then I can perform my analysis on this particular image file. So yes, so acquisition part is done. So here is this is the data available in this image file which I used. Okay, and if I don't have other info, I have other information options available here. If I have image file, I can perform my analysis. And if I have other files, what are these files? CMAP, GPX, and KML file. So these are, if I talk about CMAP file, so this is a file format used in the mapping application as well. So basically it is a map file. So I can use this map file as well for analysis purpose. If I have GPX file, so what is GPX file? This GPX or GPS exchange file format is an XML file designed as a common GPS data format. If I have that file as well, I can import that file and perform my analysis on that. And KML file is the keyhole markup language, is a file format used to display basically the geographic data in an Earth browser such as Google Earth, which I showed you right back. So if I have these kind of file available as an evidence, then I can use these files as well. I can import it, or the examiner can import these files and can perform deep analysis on that. So that's it from my side for this particular tool, Blackthorn. And now we are open for query.
Thank you, Subhashini. That was a nice demonstration.
सर गुड मॉर्निंग सर, बहुत ही अच्छा सेशन था सर। सर मेरा ये क्वेश्चन रहेगा कि सर जैसे मोबाइल फोन के अंदर जीपीएस है, ये तो सर तो उन मोबाइल फोन का ये एनालिसिस कर सकता है क्या? सेकंड सर, दूसरा क्वेश्चन है कि सर अगर दो एक्यूज के मोबाइल फोन हमें मिले हैं, दोनों के डाटा लेके इसमें जिस तरीके से कॉमन सीडीआर में जो ऑप्शन होता है कि इनका कॉमन पॉइंट कौन सा रहा है, इनका ये नाइट स्टे कहाँ कर सकते हैं, तो इसमें ये भी फीचर है क्या सर?
ब्लैकथॉर्न में ये फीचर है कि ये कॉमन लोकेशंस निकाल देता है। तो अगर आपके पास दो डिवाइसेस मिलते हैं तो उसका आप कॉमन लोकेशंस निकाल सकते हैं कि ये जो पार्टी और ये पार्टी ए और पार्टी बी जो है, ये दोनों मतलब सेम लोकेशन पे रुके हैं। हो सकता है सेम दिन को रुके हैं, हो सकते हैं अलग अलग दिनों के। जैसे मैं बॉर्डर का इन्फिल्ट्रेशन की बात कर रहा था, तो वो सब मतलब वो एक ही वो रास्ते से आते हैं, ये मतलब घाटी है, यहाँ से निकलते हैं, तो आपको रूट मिलेगा, तो दोनों का सेम रूट आता है तो आपको कॉमन लोकेशन आएगी। या फिर दोनों एक जगह मिलते हैं तब भी कॉमन लोकेशन आएगी। लेकिन
सर ये मोबाइल फोन का बताता है।
मोबाइल फोन के लिए ना, मोबाइल फोन की एप्लीकेशंस वाले होते हैं, ये कुछ मोबाइल फोन का करता है, लेकिन ये फोकस जो है ये जीपीएस डिवाइसेस के लिए है। क्योंकि क्या होता है, डेडिकेटेड जीपीएस डिवाइसेस जो होते हैं ना, वो थोड़ा से कॉम्प्लिकेटेड होते हैं। बाकी आपके पास केबल सेट है, वो जरा दिखाएंगे, ठीक है? तो इसमें क्या होता है कि इसका फोकस है जो आपके स्टैंड अलोन जीपीएस के लिए। मोबाइल जो जीपीएस होता है वो आपका मोबाइल फॉरेंसिक सॉफ्टवेयर जैसे ये हैंडकॉम, सर्वाइव वगैरह, ये सब।
So actually, so right now I am having only few cables here just to show. So if I have different kind of, अगर different GPS devices है, so most of the cables available हैं इस particular tool के साथ, ताकि आप जितना मैंने बताया कि ज्यादा से ज्यादा जीपीएस टाइप्स को ये सपोर्ट करता है, तो ज्यादा से ज्यादा जीपीएस डिवाइस से डेटा एक्सट्रैक्शन के लिए केबल्स अवेलेबल है हमारे किट में। दिस इज द किट। सो इस किट में हमारे पास ढेरों केबल्स अवेलेबल होते हैं। सो मैं आपको अभी सारे नहीं दिखा सकती बिकॉज रिसेंटली वी आर
इंटरफेसेस दिखा दो कुछ के, वो मतलब जो डिफरेंट तरह के जो केबल एंड्स होते हैं ना, वो दिखा दो।
ऑलराइट,
कैसे दिखते कैसे हैं नॉर्मल, जैसे नॉर्मल केबल्स जो होते हैं ना, वो अब देखिए, जैसे ये एक उदाहरण है, दिस इज एन एग्जांपल। दिस केबल आपको कहीं पे मिलेगा नहीं, ना मोबाइल फोरेंसिक्स में, ना कहीं पर, क्योंकि ये स्पेशलाइज्ड जीपीएस की केबल्स होती हैं। इस तरह के कनेक्टर्स जो हैं वो आपको स्टैंडर्ड नहीं मिलते हैं, ना मार्केट में ना कहीं और, क्योंकि ये डिवाइसेस ही मतलब अलग तरह का जानवर है। इट इज अ डिफरेंट काइंड ऑफ एनिमल। अब Mr. Abhishek.
Yes. So again, from an academic viewpoint, like suppose you have a smartphone, and if like the location or GPS are off for that mobile, can we still get some information about the location from this kind of system that you have? Because as far as I know, like other apps like some maps or something where even if it is not GPS oriented, but still like few sensors, through sensors, it can get some data. So will that data be also be utilized in your apps or in your system?
I think there is a little gap in our communication here. What I think we have not communicated clearly is this app is designed specifically for stand-alone GPS devices. It is not for mobile phones. So mobile phones are different. Standalone GPS devices are different, especially like, heavy-duty GPS devices that are used in boats, ships, fishing vessels, for smuggling, and areas where there is no mobile towers and coverage and things like that. Second is that there are GPS chips that are embedded inside our phones. So to answer your specific question, Professor Abhishek, is that is a excellent question which requires that the data, say the GPS is switched off, right? We are saying that the GPS is switched off. Now the GPS is switched off. How is the mobile phone getting its location? Because maps will show some location, some apps will show some location, your Swiggy will show some location, your Zomato will show some location. But that location is coming from the A part of the assisted GPS, AGPS. If you recall the video which we showed, that A part is actually assisted GPS. That A part is coming from the cell tower. Because there is a signal, because the signal is connecting to the tower, that tower connectivity with the signal is indicative that it is close to that tower, geographically close to that tower. How close is debatable, and that is why the accuracy is never so good. And you will find that if there is a circle, it shows a big circle. It does not show a small circle. When GPS is there, the circle accuracy becomes better. But without GPS, it becomes bigger. And that is because it is using the tower for its location and not the actual GPS coordinates. So that is what happens when you are using that. That tower information is available through CDRs. If you recall the third session we did on CDR secrets, that we were getting locations based on tower. So that is what, So it's a combination of multiple technologies where you have to investigate a thing like that.
सर नमस्कार, गुड आफ्टरनून.
Namaskar, Professor Sir.
सर मुझे थोड़ा सा एकेडमिक पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू दो बिंदु पे ऊपर चर्चा को थोड़ा सा कंसंट्रेट करना था. नंबर वन, जब भी हम एक्विजिट करते हैं तो ये आपके जो सॉफ्टवेयर है इसके खुद की एक मेमोरी कंप्यूटर की है या अलग से हम मतलब एक्विजिशन का जो डेटा है वो कहाँ पे हम डंप करते हैं?
क्या करते हैं, अपने लैपटॉप में हम ये सॉफ्टवेयर इंस्टॉल करते हैं, बराबर. एक साइड पे हमने रखा जीपीएस को केबल से कनेक्ट किया अपना इस पे कंप्यूटर पे. कंप्यूटर में सॉफ्टवेयर है, सॉफ्टवेयर ने थ्रू द केबल उसका एक्वायर करके डेटा का एक कॉपी बना लिया फॉरेंसिकली सेम विद हैश वैल्यू और एवरीथिंग, राइट ब्लॉक मोड में अपने कंप्यूटर पे एक कोई हार्ड डिस्क में जगह सेव करके उसमें रख लिया. सो बेसिकली क्या है, इट इज क्रिएटिंग अ इमेज ऑफ द जीपीएस डिवाइस ऑन योर कंप्यूटर हार्ड डिस्क
बिट टू बिट. और दूसरा सवाल ये था कि एजीपीएस अगर हम सभी मोबाइल्स के लिए कंपलसरी कर देते हैं नेशनली और इंटरनेशनली तो इजीली बहुत सारे चोर पकड़े जा सकते हैं. तो ये क्यों नहीं हो रहा है, या इसके पीछे क्या साइंस और साइंटिफिक टेम्परामेंट होना चाहिए इसको इम्प्लीमेंट करने के लिए?
क्योंकि इसमें ना दो आते हैं, रेगुलेटरी एस्पेक्ट आता है और टेक्नोलॉजिकल एस्पेक्ट आता है, और आई थिंक थर्ड एस्पेक्ट एक और भी आता है जिसको मैं कहूँगा मॉनिटरी एस्पेक्ट आता है. अब आपका रेगुलेटरी एस्पेक्ट ये है कि एजीपीएस जो है वो टेक्नोलॉजिकली यूज हो रहा है कि क्योंकि फोन में ऑलरेडी टावर यूज है, तो जो हार्डवेयर, जो फोन का हार्डवेयर जो डिजाइन हो रहा है वो यूटिलाइज कर रहा है जीपीएस जो बिल्ट इन है प्लस टावर की इंफॉर्मेशन लेके टू प्रोवाइड इट. बिकॉज कॉन्स्टेंटली इनका सॉफ्टवेयर अपडेट होता जाता है, नया हार्डवेयर आता जाता है. एवरी टाइम यू बाय अ न्यू फोन इट इज मोर पावरफुल, मोर केपेबल. सो इसलिए एजीपीएस आए जा रहा है. बट दे आर ओनली यूजिंग इट फॉर जीपीएस रिलेटेड एप्लीकेशंस. जैसे आपका कोई भी एप्लीकेशन है, जैसे अब मैंने स्विगी टोमेटो वगैरह मेंशन किया था, स्विगी टोमेटो, तो उसमें ये होता है. लेकिन और इसमें भी अपने गूगल मैप्स वगैरह में. लेकिन जब हम टावर डेटा देखते हैं जिससे क्रिमिनल्स को पकड़ा जाता है, क्योंकि फोन तो हाथ में होता नहीं है, हमारे पास तो सिर्फ कॉल रिकॉर्ड्स होते हैं। तो जो कॉल रिकॉर्ड्स हैं वो कौन देता है? वो सर्विस प्रोवाइडर देता है। सर्विस प्रोवाइडर के पास क्या डेटा है? जो नेटवर्क से उसको मिला है। नेटवर्क से क्या कम्युनिकेट कर रहा है? नेटवर्क से कम्युनिकेट कर रहा है इनका सिम। ठीक है, तो सिम में क्या है? लिमिटेड स्पेस होती है, जो 32 किलोबाइट्स या 16 किलोबाइट्स या 8 किलोबाइट्स, डिपेंडिंग किस तरह का सिम है। मतलब उसके बाद सिम में कई वर्षों से कोई अपग्रेड नहीं हुआ है। There has been no upgrades on SIMs. They are still continuing as SIM. They are just basically used for communication. अब ये है कि eSIM आ गया है, which is the next stage. जिसमें एडवांटेज ये है कि they can start sending assisted GPS data instead of sending only tower data. लेकिन अभी क्या हो रहा है कि जो 4G आया और 4G के बाद LTE आया, जो रिलायंस जियो ने स्टार्ट किया, उसमें ऑलरेडी बिकॉज ऑफ द काइंड ऑफ टेक्नोलॉजी दैट जियो इज यूजिंग, एक्यूरेसी ऑफ लोकेशन इज वेरी हाई। आप मतलब विद इन 9 मीटर्स आप आदमी को लोकेट कर सकते हो। आपका जियो यूज हो रहा है तो विद इन 9 मीटर्स जियो कैन लोकेट यू, व्हिच इज नॉट अ लॉट, पास में ही है। ठीक है ना? तो बगल में आदमी खड़ा हुआ है, उसको आप लोकेट कर सकते हो यूजिंग दैट टेक्नोलॉजी। सो people are not investing more money, which I mentioned, in this technology because they are already getting a solution from the service provider. That is the limitation.
So one more last question, general question in digital forensic investigator. जैसे मान लीजिए एक फाइल अनविजिबल है, स्लैक में है, जो अपने कवरेज में डंप में आई है और 1000 टाइम्स वो ओवरराइट हुई है उसी हार्ड डिस्क में या डिवाइस में, तो उसको हम कैसे एक्सट्रैक्ट करेंगे? क्योंकि सॉफ्टवेयर की इतनी सारी लिमिट है कि 500, 600, 700, 999 करेंगे, 1000 प्लस हो जाएंगे तो ओवरराइट डेटा तो रिकवर नहीं किया जाता, ऐसा साइंटिफिकली बोला जाता है। तो इसके ऊपर आपके क्या कमेंट्स हैं?
एक्चुअली ना ये साइंटिफिक मेरे को एक सेशन करना पड़ेगा, क्योंकि ये जो होता है ना हमारा साइंटिफिक माइथोलॉजी है, फैक्ट नहीं है। जो हम लोग मतलब जैसे हम लोग कहते हैं ना ये लेजेंड है, अर्बन लेजेंड, उस तरह की बात है। लोग कहते हैं कि अगर आप 7 बारी फॉर्मेट कर दो तो रिकवर नहीं हो सकता है, और ये कर दो तो ये नहीं हो सकता, ये हो गया, इतना बारी ओवरराइट कर दो। ओवरराइड होता है फिजिकल ओवरराइड, जनरल ओवरराइड नहीं कहेंगे। ओवरराइड का मतलब अगर क्योंकि हम देखिए बेसिक स्मॉलेस्ट, जैसे हम मैथमेटिक्स में पढ़ते थे ना, लीस्ट कॉमन फैक्टर LCF, और क्या होता था मल्टीपल कॉमन फैक्टर और लीस्ट कॉमन डिनोमिनेटर, ऐसे कुछ होता था, मैं आई डोंट रिमेम्बर। बच्चे भी हमारे बहुत बड़े बड़े हैं तो ये सब हम नहीं कह सकते हैं अभी, लेकिन वो उसमें क्या था कि अगर आप the smallest in writing data is a 0 or a 1. बेसिकली जैसे स्विच होता है उसको ऑफ करेंगे या ऑन करेंगे, ठीक है? तो अगर हम उस लेवल पे ओवरराइटिंग देखते हैं, अगर 0 है और उसको बदल के हमने एक और 0 लिख दिया, तो हमें कैसे पता इससे पहले क्या था? अगर वो 0 है तो स्विच जैसे 0 पे ऑफ है और 1 पे ऑन है, तो स्विच को अगर हमने 0 पे रखा ऑफ और सेकेंड टाइम भी 0 पे रखा तो अभी भी 0 है। अब नेक्स्ट टाइम अगर हमने उसको फिर 1 पे रखा तो स्विच की पोजीशन क्या हो गई? 1 हो गई। पर हम कैसे कह सकते हैं पुरानी पोजीशन क्या थी? हम नहीं कह सकते। सेम थिंग अबाउट रिकवरिंग ओवररिटन डेटा। अगर हमारा पुराना डेटा का स्विच 0 पे था तो हम ये नहीं बता सकते कि वो 0 था कि 1 था, क्योंकि अभी हमारा जो डेटा का स्विच है वो 1 है। If it is practically overwritten at the bit level, it is gone. एक बारी ओवरराइट करने से, एक 1000 बारी भी नहीं जरूरत। There are a number of theories जो हम इलेक्ट्रॉन माइक्रोस्कोप से उसको हम इंटेंसिटी 0 के ऊपर 0 लिखे जाएगा तो उसकी वो इंटेंसिटी बढ़ जाएगी, पर 0 के ऊपर 1 लिखा जाएगा तो इंटेंसिटी चेंज हो जाएगी, और ये सब थ्योरीज हैं। प्रैक्टिकली इट हैज बीन अटेम्प्टेड, एक्चुअल ट्राई किया गया था यूएस डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ डिफेंस में, और जो रिजल्ट्स आए थे वो दे वर इनकंक्लूसिव, तुक्केबाजी थी। किसी को पता था तो वो थोड़ा बहुत मतलब क्या कहते हैं रिसर्चर बायस के बेसिस पे कुछ एक्यूरेसी तो कभी नहीं आई, बट कुछ इंफॉर्मेशन मैच करी, बट ज्यादा नहीं। सो इट इज नॉट साइंस एट द मोमेंट। सो दिस इज नंबर 1 कि भाई ओवरराइटिंग एट द बिट लेवल। उसके बाद हम आ जाते हैं कि भाई आप ओवरराइटिंग एट द क्लस्टर लेवल, क्योंकि डेटा इज स्टोर्ड इन क्लस्टर्स, ठीक है ना? आपका पहले बिट होगा, फिर 8 बिट्स मिलके बाइट होगा, बाइट्स को आप लेंगे इकट्ठा और आप 512 बाइट्स का एक सेक्टर बनाएंगे, और एक सेक्टर में आप कहोगे कि हमारे को सपोज 8 सेक्टर लेके हमारा एक क्लस्टर बनेगा या ऐसे कुछ होगा. सो इफ वी नाउ टॉक एट अ क्लस्टर लेवल, overwriting depends on the size of the file doing the overwriting on the previous file. यदि हमारी प्रीवियस फाइल जो है वो 2 क्लस्टर ले रही है जिसका साइज सपोज एक क्लस्टर का साइज 1024 बाइट्स है और 2 क्लस्टर है तो 2048 बाइट्स है, और हम उसको ओवरराइट कर रहे हैं 512 बाइट की फाइल से, तो हमारा क्या बच रहा है, वी आर गेटिंग 1024 प्लस 512 इज नॉट ओवररिटन एक्चुअली प्रैक्टिकली. तो वो हमारा अगर हम उसको 999 बारी या 1000 बारी भी 512 वाली फाइल से हम ओवरराइट करेंगे सेम फाइल से, तो हमारा फिर भी वो 1500 जो रिमेनिंग है, 1624 जो भी रिमेनिंग है वो रिकवर हो जाएगा. We will still be able to recover that portion. However, अगर वो आपका 512 की फाइल है एक क्लस्टर में और आप उस फाइल को आप 1024 वाली फाइल से ओवरराइट कर रहे हो, तो पहली बारी में ही ओवरराइट. So it is basically that the exact physical location on the hard drive, if it is replaced by some other data, it is gone, no matter how many times. One time also it is gone. And we can show this practically. In fact, this is a nice demonstration to do. कभी करेंगे हम लोग. And क्योंकि ये जो है ये बहुत सालों से ये common मिसअंडरस्टैंडिंग है और मैंने कई लोगों को प्रैक्टिकली करके भी दिखाया है, तो धीरे धीरे ये अवेयरनेस हम भी बढ़ाना चाहते हैं कि भाई व्हेन इट कम्स टू ओवर रिटन डेटा, यू नो, अंडरस्टैंडिंग इज इम्पोर्टेंट कि व्हाट कैन बी रिकवर्ड एंड व्हाट कैन नॉट बी रिकवर्ड.
I have just one more question, just based on the discussion that we had just now. Like then, when we overwrite something, do we really have any control that where the data will be stored? Like previously, I had some data, and then I want to overwrite by some other data, maybe a bigger version of that data. Suppose initially we had 10 bits, now say 2048 bits. Do we really have any control over us that where exactly will that data be overwritten by the bigger data? Do we have really the architecture supports like that, or it's like wherever it finds space, it can play with? So what would be the exact method how to overwrite so that the last data should be lost?
Very interesting question and very important question from a data destruction perspective. See, the most secure way, the safest way, जिससे आप मतलब 100% श्योर हो कि डेटा गया, वो ये है कि जो आपका हार्ड ड्राइव है उसको स्टार्टिंग सेक्टर 0 से लेके लास्ट सेक्टर 19 बिलियन जितना भी है आपका, मतलब 190 करोड़ या जितना भी सेक्टर है, वो आप 0 से उससे 0 वाले से 0 लिखना शुरू करिए, सब पे 0 लिखिए, एवरीथिंग ऑन द हार्ड डिस्क इज गॉन. अगर आपको एक छोटा सा स्पेसिफिक डेटा उड़ाना है, देन दैट इज अ प्रॉब्लम. बिकॉज क्या होता है कि आपके जानने से भी आपने एक कॉपी बनाया उस फाइल का, बट देयर माइट बी मल्टीपल कॉपीज ऑफ द सेम फाइल created by the operating system for better operation, for managing the RAM, for managing speed, for caching it, for recovery of data in case of crash. For all those reasons, there is a possibility कि भाई data कहीं पे आ सकता है. So there is no surety that that file will be gone for sure. So the most sure way is the way I have told you. या फिर आप उसको मतलब पकड़ के पीट दीजिए. आपके मैं वहाँ पे था फोर्ट विलियम में, कैलकाटा में, तो वहाँ पे डिफेंस का वो है, वहाँ पे उन्होंने एक फर्नेस लगाया हुआ, पुराना हार्ड डिस्क उसमें स्वाहा होता है उसमें डाल के जला देते हैं. So destruction, only way of destruction is proper destruction. We have a question from Mr. Yeshonet. He says this is giving a latitude and longitudinal view. Can we incorporate elevation? See, we are already incorporating elevation because you are taking the surface of the earth as your third trilocation था ना, वो आपने वीडियो देखा था. So what happens is that if you incorporate the third circle, then it is elevation. Thank you and bye bye. और कोई सवाल है तो please get in touch with us. WhatsApp